Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, when you understand the tetragrammaton, Yahweh means agreeable and disagreeable. Also,
So Yahweh means both.
yeah.
Agreeable. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, that I mean, no, that's interesting. And that's a very interesting experience you had. Since that experience, is meditation you something you do often to
Most of the time, like I get most of my meditation when I'm in the sauna.
okay.
When I do, that's where I do a lot of my extensive meditation, to where I'm able to, open up myself and receive whatever energy, whatever thoughts that's amalgamating in my mind. That's the time where I tap into my meditation.
Right, indeed. So let's talk about in terms of supreme magnetism and magnetizing things to you. That's a feminine principle, magnetism, and they say thoughts are electric, that's male, and the magnetism is female.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ways you think men can fully tap into that energy? Because some men might consider it like like soft when they hear the word
Mm-hmm.
feminine energy and stuff like that. You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
where they have to get away from the perception of the perpetuation of false masculinity that's
Hmm.
being venerated on the television networking system. So
Hmm.
a lot of people, due to dark psychology, which creates behavior modification, if you
Hmm.
see something enough on television, it's going to embark into your reality. So this is why a lot of men are very emotional. It's not even through the imagery of westernized television. It's also through westernized diet, and it's
Hmm.
also through westernized recreational drugs. So even when you smoking and you drinking, the
Hmm.
aromatase levels um, activates. It extensifies by 25% because the aromatase is transmuted over into estrogen, and the estrogen takes over your testosterone level, so you're thrown out of balance. So in
Hmm.
order to uh, reap the benefits of connecting to the divine source within you and tapping into that feminine energy, um, you have to, like I said, you have to understand what a soul is. Your soul is based on thinking, reasoning, understanding, and willpower.
Hmm.
So when you don't have that willpower, you don't have that comprehension, that creates instability and irresolution in your life.
Hmm.
So this is why the great majority of men on this planet are mentally fractured and spiritually broken. So,
Hmm.
like I said, it's up to them to have the mental fortitude to to get away from the propagation of false masculinity, get in the
Hmm.
gym, work out, read,
Hmm.
listen to R&B music. So these are the best ways to tap into those energies.
Indeed. Now, I seen something on your Instagram you wrote one time, and you was talking about. Let me see if I could let me check this out. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let me pull up something real quick if I could see it. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna have to come to it later. But you was talking about leaking energy, and that's something I talked to Dr. B Serious about, and that's something, a big problem we have is that we leak energy a lot. We have an electromagnetic field, we have an aura. Some people's are more magnetic than others. Some people, when they walk in a room, you can feel them. And I guess some people, they're weak, and you can see them just by the way they walk. They walk with their head down, and they may seem scared the way they act and behave, and that may show a weak magnetic field. But talk to me about leaking your energy, because that's very important that we need a concept that we need to understand.
Well, the best way to stop leaking your energy is to not make yourself so accessible. So, like I said,
You,
I'm one of
you was
those
talking about
people.
that, yeah. So the energy vampires, they often come disguised as friends, as family, as mates, and it could be pretty tricky
Mhm.
about who to decide who. So, what are some of the keys? Give me three keys to spot an energy vampire. Three things that that's energy vampire. Just give me three, like so we could spot them and we could stop giving our energy to those people.
Someone who hasn't done their shadow work, because
Mhm.
we're so caught up into this vanity concept of, we like things based on how they look, especially men. So in order for a man to decipher if a woman is a energy vampire or not, so in order for a man to decipher if a woman is an energy vampire, he has to understand that is she trying to bond with him on a traumatic level.
Okay.
So most of the relationships that you see nowadays are basically trauma bonds.
Trauma bonds.
They're not based on mental connections. That's the diametrical difference between the two. But the only way you can see that is because the great majority of people are
afternoon. I just decided to go there. Because I told BDELL, listen, fam, I talked to last time I talked to BDELL, I get inspired by everybody. BDELL stressed to me the importance of him working out his avatar. And we was just talking. We was like, yo, what's good with you? We like, yo, what's good with you? How you doing on your end of the earth? BDELL's like, yo, I'm working on my avatar, da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, I got to work on that. I'm like, yo, BDELL, that's something that I got to work on and step my game up on. So I've been doing that more, BDELL, working on my avatar, letting my blood circulate, getting the oxygen in all my cells. And I'm like, I'm gonna hit Stone Mountain at least once a week. And I went there yesterday and it felt good. So shout out to everybody who lives next to something like that, a park or a mountain. Make sure y'all hit those up, y'all. Make sure y'all hit those up. It's very important that we connect back with nature. Let's get
I want to tell some. I want to reiterate this again. So it's very imperative that people understand that if you do not just stay in the house during the solar eclipse, like I said, go to a mound, go to those a pyramid structure, go to these ancient structures where our ancestors, had the land. We were connected to the land at that point in time. Go to those ancient structures to where you can receive these ancestral energies. That's important.
Oh yeah, indeed. Let's get to a super chat. What about we just talked. What about? Well, I gotta ask this because it's a super chat question. What about the solar eclipse coming in April? Is it going to affect anything like this solar flare? I don't even get the question. Is it going to affect? Is it going to affect things like this solar flare? Yeah. Will it knock something out? Are we?
It's basically going to activate a certain energy in that certain area. Okay. That's what's going to happen.
Okay. Definitely. Somebody said, Rich, you been to Indian Springs yet? No, I have to go there. Red Pill was telling me about it. I definitely have to go there, and I plan on going there. So thanks for reminding me. I will definitely get there sometime this year. Let's get to another question from the BDELL. They want you to explain the soul trap. What is the soul trap, BDELL?
A soul trap. So now, when you understand the Saturn Moon matrix, everything as far as the material plane works in conjunction with the moon. The moon is an interstellar vortex portal for reincarnation. So that's why the great majority of monotheistic religion, MON, is connected to the energy of MOON, the moon. So as far as religion, it all works on the Sabbath. So religion is actually a form of spiritual entrapment because it keeps you subjugated in entrapped of a spiritual box. Because that's when you open up a cube, it becomes a crucifix. Then you got the Star of David, and then you got the Kaaba and Mecca. All these is different forms of spiritual entrapment to subjugate you from a spiritual level to where you're not tapping into your intrinsic abilities on a spiritual level. So also having an emotional attachment to everything in the material plane is a form of a soul trap. Because like I said, when you're going through a process of reincarnation, if you had a veneration for cheeseburgers, right? So when they're going to create that holographic projection, when it's time for you to go in that white light, that's another way to bring you right back here. So like I said, you got to use your emotions as a navigation system in order to deviate from this matrix system. That's how you do it. You got to be balanced.
Indeed. I'm glad you said it like that, my brother. Let's get to one last question, then we're gonna get out of here, family.
And that makes me understand why those when we were talking about altars, that's why those certain spirits keep coming back. I know this one girl, she puts tea down, for her grandmother, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where anything that's inanimate objects, it makes you come back to this realm. you don't want to have an emotional connection. You want to get away from this realm. You want to deviate from it.
Oh wow. BDELL, last question. This from the sister Leah again. Shout out to Leah. Very active in the chat, supporting everything. Supporting and everything.
I thought she be supporting my channel too.
Yes, okay. Yeah, that's what's up. So yeah, okay. So she for real, for real. Aaliyah wants to know, can you ask BDELL, what about single moms who work and homeschool? How do you suggest they prepare for the shift, BDELL? There's a lot of sisters in this situation, BDELL. What's your advice?
It's one of those things where now, since we're at the apex of, you know, the matriarch, you need a man, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things, like, I forgot what verse it said in the Bible. It says that a lot of women are going to cling on to one man or something like that, 4 women to 1 man. But it's one of those things where you would need a divine masculine in order to, you know, to balance that energy out. Because it's one of those things where you can't look at this Great Awakening period in a form of individualism. You know what I'm saying? You need that counterpart, because just like in the movie Matrix, in order for Neo to get to the next level and escape the Matrix, he needed that divine feminine. Just like in the last Matrix movie that came out, he was able to escape because he had that divine feminine counterpart for him to get to the next level. So the same thing actually takes place with single women. So you need both energies, because the you know, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, that creates a tetrahedron energy, and that tetrahedron energy is the same energy to where you escape the matrix system. So you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where you need that counterpart in order to, you know what I'm saying, to where you can tap into the ability of being the best version of yourself, so you can be the best version for your children.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, what a show, y'all. What a show, what a show, what a show. We still got about 3,400 people in the building. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I'm glad I got an opportunity to get to a lot of your questions. I asked questions I want to ask, but I got to y'all's. That's important, because I know this is an important event and things going on in the future. I want everybody to know how to maneuver, what to do. I guess the last thing I would ask BDELL before we get out of here, any recommendation about, everybody's diet is different, everybody's blood type is different. In terms of any recommendations you would give on a diet, not just be a vegan, but any recommendations on a particular diet to get some of these sun rays that's coming in, these downloads or anything like that? What do you think is most beneficial to us at this time, BDELL?
Okay. As I was telling you before, use your emotions as a navigation system,
right?
Meaning that create a reward system for yourself. Don't cut certain things off cold turkey. Like I said, if you still eat certain things that's basically diabolical to your anatomy, you know what I'm saying? Try juicing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, for the next 3 days, I'm just going to be just drinking juices. That's what I'm doing. Fast every once in a while, to where you get away from the emotional attachment of food, to where it puts you in a state of discipline. So it's one of those things where, like I said, if you don't have the mental fortitude and the spiritual fortitude to get away from certain foods or whatever, just try fasting. Fast for 2 days, just a water fast.
Right.
That might work for you. But for those who really take their diet seriously or whatever, you know, eat fruits and vegetables, you know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? Building up your immune system and building up your anatomy to where you can take in these frequencies. Because it's going to come a point in time where the environment is going to be going to become so chaotic is where you're going to have to perform ultra fast internal conversion, meaning that you're going to have to be operating from a place where you're not going to be able to eat food all the time, to where you're just going to have to be eating from the energies within the ethers. So like I said, that's why I'm trying to prepare my body for. I'm trying to go, you know what I'm saying, see if I can go for a week without no food, just juice.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta put yourself in alignment to that, to where, you know, sometimes you gotta make yourself suffer in the form of a sacrifice. You gotta sacrifice the anatomy to tap into your higher self.
Indeed. Yeah, you know what helps me transition away from food and just not pay attention to it? I got to give a special shout out real quick, family, to the brother KT, the arts degree. I truly feel, I don't know if you ever tried his products, but the brother truly has some of the best products on planet Earth.
I got that gold stuff he got.
Okay, okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. The brother, that's a blue pill, I think. The gold, the liquid gold.
I thought KT he has his own version
No,
too.
no, no, no. That's blue pill right there. That's blue pill with the
Okay, okay.
KT got the
I got it
honey.
like last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
KT got the honey and the sea moss and the you know, phytoplankton and shit like that.
okay,
KT got some amazing products, y'all. Amazing. So shout out to the brother KT. He has been helping me with my diet a lot lately. I did the fast. We did the fast with the brother in January. My diet has been on point since then, y'all. So I've been, I've been feeling a little more alive and vibrant as a result of that. And I want to thank the brother for helping me get my diet. Sometimes I slip up because of my lifestyle. I'm moving around so fast. So shout out to KT for helping me keep focused with my diet. With that being said, hey, BDELL, amazing, wonderful show. Packed house, 3,400 people still up in here. Tell the people your contact info so they can check out your YouTube, Instagram, and everything else you got going on.
okay. My page on my YouTube is BDELL1014, BDELL1014. That same nomenclature title is on Instagram, BDELL1014. And you can also find me on Facebook where I do a lot of self-help. You just, really just good quotes and everything that helps raise up the vibrational consciousness of the planet on Brado Rice Bay on Facebook. So that's where you can find me. I got another video coming out talking about the big event, the Luciferian Great Reset. I'm breaking that down, and that's coming out Sunday on my YouTube channel.
Indeed, indeed. Somebody said, how do you get past insecurity at Black? You have to elaborate on that and ask that the next show I do when I do a Q&A, because I think that's something that a lot of people got to touch on, insecurities, but I don't know exactly what you're talking about. And we're about to get out of here right now. Hey, listen, thank you to everybody for tuning in. I just can't say enough how much of a wonderful show this is tonight. With that being said, BDELL, I'm gonna talk to you soon, my brother. Keep up the amazing work that you're doing, brother. Like I said, Yaki mentioned you. I went to your page and I felt the confidence in your words. You was like, I'm gonna be on his show one day. Like, you ain't know me from nothing. I know you, but I'm like, oh, this young brother's confident. And I just got drawn right back to you months later. And I was like, ain't this the dude from earlier, from a couple of months ago? And I was like, that is the dude. So, brother, keep doing your thing. When you vibrate on a certain frequency, nothing can deny you, family. People will be forced. I gotta. Before we start, brother, listen, fam. King Simon, man, I'm gonna start to add tomorrow, King Simon. I forgot about it, but tomorrow I definitely will start it. I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna run it by itself also. I'm gonna look out for you, King Simon. But my fault, I forgot to put it on before the show, my brother. But BDELL, before we start, tell the people and tell me a little bit about yourself before we got an amazing topic. Everybody can't wait to hear about Grand Canyon, Crystal City, and the return of Plutonian energy. And this is something I heard you talk about, so I said I got to bring it to my channel. But tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started, my brother.
Well, on my YouTube channel, I talk about a lot about metaphysics, quantum physics. I talk about extraterrestrials, and I merge it in with theological context to where people can understand it at a biblical level, because I know the vast majority of our people, they're really stuck in monotheistic belief systems. So I talk about many different dynamics of esoteric knowledge on my channel.
Are you Nuwabian?
No.
Okay. Because I see you reference a lot of their material. Dr. So Dr. York was just an influence.
Yes,
like,
sir.
Like the brother Rod Hayes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So listen, brother. So you had a video that really interested me, and you was talking about the Grand Canyon, and I've heard so much about it. I mean, I've heard so much about that place being a very spiritual place, and there's so much history that's hidden about it from us. And in fact, it's hard to even go there and go to certain places within the Grand Canyon because it's blocked off. So could you reiterate, what was you saying on your channel about the Grand Canyon, and what should we know moving into 2023 that you was talking about with the Grand Canyon, my brother?
Well, the Grand Canyon is also in alignment with the Milky Way galaxy. And the Grand Canyon also contains interstellar vortex portals, because it's basically an energy center, and meaning that it's the navel of the planet, right? So it also gives you the ability to take you to many different subterranean geographical landmasses, like the city of Shambhala, means synth of Allah, and then you have Argartha. When you break down the etymology, it means through the hole, and then you have the Rainbow City, which is a nomenclature title for the Crystal City. So the reason you have that type of vibration inside the Grand Canyon is because the Grand Canyon has a fourth dimensional tetrahedron frequency, and that frequency, like I said, it's an energy center. So, but the Grand Canyon, you know, that was the inception point of when you had the planet. It was in a state of revitalization due to the extraction of plutonium bombs that broke the planet in half. So then when you get a transliteration of the Sumerian tablets, it tells you verbatim that Enlil slain Tiamat. Tiamat is another name for planet Earth, right? So that's where you get this whole theological concept of when Satan separated the intergalactic waters from the third dimension to where you have an atmosphere now. So once the planet broke off, right, that's when the Nibiru, the mothership, they projected a light ball of energy, a 600-mile diameter sun inside the planet, which is basically the inception point of where the Grand Canyon started to take place. So that in itself created this phenomenon and this anomaly of the Aurora Borealis. That energy is coming from the frequencies in the solar radiation from inside the planet that is activated by cymatic frequency and Etherian gases.
Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot, brother. Wow. Okay. Wow. So tell me more about this Crystal City, this Rainbow City.
Well, the Crystal City, when you understand that not just at a theological level, but at a biological level and at a neurological level, we are microcosm of the macrocosm through the law of correspondence. So as above, so below, as within, so without. So the Crystal City, we are basically emulations of it. Right? So as the planet is speeding up in vibration, right? When the planet speeds up in vibration, that speeds up the carbon, because the carbon body is a bioelectric entity. It's an electromagnetic generator and a light code transducer where it transmutes the carbon body into a crystalline state, which puts the 7 energy cortexes, the chakras, in the endocrine system in alignment that sends a piezoelectric frequency to the 144,000 crystals in the brain called the magnetites and the dendrites, which creates more neurons in the brain. And when you have more neurons in the brain created, that ties the frequency of the soul and the mind together to where you become a whole brain thinker. So this is how you tap into the energetic imprint of the universe. When you activate your Akashic records, when you activate the junk DNA, when you're activating all the God particles within you, the metaphysical genes that they took away from you since birth. Because when we go to these the places where we're born at, get your channel flag with certain words, but when we go, they inject PCP inside the hippocampus layer of the brain, which causes a lunar light lock energy, and that lunar light lock energy creates nanogenetic mind control to where you don't reap the benefits of your metaphysical abilities that's conducive to your neurological capacity. So like I said, you also have a Crystal City inside the planet, but we are emulations of the Crystal City. So when you understand the numerical spectrum of the year 2023, when you add up all the numbers, you get 7. 7 is the personification of evolution and ascension, but our ascension process is predicated upon genetic mutation, because we're supposed to be raising in frequency with the planet as the planet is going through a terraforming process. So we are the Crystal City, but you also have a Crystal City inside the planet as well. That's where the Galactic Federation has all their meetings and stuff.
Have you ever done any astral traveling and been to these places?
No, I've never. I ain't gonna lie to you, I've never did any type of astral traveling. I only had I had an encounter about 6 years ago, but not with an actual being, but it was just when I was in a theta state when I was asleep, and I had a metaphysical encounter.
Okay. Yeah. So, on Instagram and TikTok, we got all these videos going around connecting the Grand Canyon to ancient Egypt or Kemet. And they're saying that's actually carvings of pharaohs over there that they don't allow us to see. So talk to me about the connection between the Grand Canyon and Kemet.
Well, the Smithsonian's in I think it was 1909, they found many different Kemetic artifacts and Egyptian relics inside the Grand Canyon. So that basically predates the discovery of King Tut's tomb, right? Which they found that in 1922. So everything that they found inside the Grand Canyon, they took that information in those artifacts and they brought it over to Egypt. So they did that basically. It was like a bait and switch type of operation because they want to keep you from the fact that the geographical landmass of America is the true old world and it predates everything as far as the Giza Plateau, because you have the Cheops pyramid and the Temple of Shiva, and you have the Temple of Isis inside the Grand Canyon. So, well, like I said, they did a bait and switch. They took all the artifacts, the Kemetic artifacts from Egypt, from the Grand Canyon, and they brought it over to Egypt. And when they found King Tut's tomb inside in 1922, they found it, but the seals was broken off already. So like I said, they try to hide the history by keeping you thinking you came from Africa when everything in this geographical landmass predates everything in the Giza Plateau. So you also got to understand that the Mayans that got the vast majority of their edification and their civilization from the Olmecs. And the Olmecs taught the Mayans, and the Mayans taught the Egyptians. So that's how you know that the Olmecs, the ones who taught them how to build mounds and pyramids, they're basically the mothers of civilization. Everything started in Mesoamerica.
Now, I've been hearing more and more people say that recently. Like a lot of people, the brother Rod Hayes, a lot of people have been saying that recently. And I know a lot of people are shocked to hear that because there was once a Kemet movement where everything was Kemet. But now a lot of people are talking about the brilliance and the spirituality that America possessed as well. You know what I'm saying? What other gods? I mean, any other gods have a presence in the Grand Canyon that you could tell me about? Like I hear Tahuti mentioned a lot in the West. Is there anything else that ties Kemet and the gods from Kemet to the Grand Canyon?
I know. I know for a fact because this is America. This geographical area is the land of Tahuti. So I know they had a lot of Buddhist artifacts inside there as well. So, but I never really got a deep dive into the gods and everything.
Didn't Rashad Jamal say the Grand Canyon was the back door to Africa or something?
Yeah, it's definitely an interstellar vortex portal because a lot of the pyramids are actually portals to many different energy centers. I told you it's in alignment with the Milky Way galaxy, so everything on the planet has a symbiotic connection because the pyramids were basically frequency centers. So that's why he came up with that philosophy and that ideology.
Interstellar vortexes. Is there where else would there be an interstellar vortex like similar to the Grand Canyon in America, would you say?
Well, you have the great majority of all the caverns on the planet where I live is like 1 hour and 30 minutes away from Mammoth Cave, Kentucky. But the great majority of these cave systems, they turn it into historical landmarks because they know that there's energy portals there. So like I said, this is why they create this dynamic of gender wars on the planet when you're talking about Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, because they know that the unification of the divine feminine and the divine masculine working in synergy with nature, we have the ability to open up stargates and portals on this planet. So that's why they don't want us to see, at a micro level, they don't want to see us together.
Right.
So those are basically the keys to the universe, the 3, 6, and the 9, when you understand the esoteric science of vortex math. Because 3, 6, and 9 are not physical numbers. They govern the physical world through quantum physics, which is also connected to mind science technology.
So when you good, brother, good.
So that's why I was saying, like, it's all based upon the anatomy of, the carbonated body in crystallization.
Indeed. Now, people talk a lot about the union between the divine masculine and feminine, and you talked about how it could open up these portals. So just to get this straight, so let's say carbonated being divine masculine and feminine vibrating and vibrating that love frequency. in a completely opposite side of the planet has an impact on the Grand Canyon and the portal there and portals all over? Like it's non-local, it could impact any portal on this planet?
It has the ability to, because right now you have the planet going back into its original balance because it was subjugated by patriarchal patrilineal energy, which threw off the frequency of the planet. So everything conducive to nature is under a matrilineal matriarchal system. Everything that was galvanized by mankind, which threw off the spiritual equilibrium of the planet, is galvanized by patriarchy. So when the planet is back in balance, this is how you're able to open up all these energy centers and these stargates and these portals, because you have a fourth dimensional energy that's hitting the stratosphere and hitting the planet, and it's raising up the vibrational frequency. So that's why you have the Shoma resonance, which sits at 7.83 megahertz frequency. When you have a pole shift and you have an open vortex, that sends a Shoma resonance spike at 13.13 megahertz frequency. And then when you understand Vedic numerology, 13 is also a karmic number. And the karmic number is connected to the divine feminine energy taking back the planet, because everything that was created by mankind decimated everything in nature, but the laws of nature supersedes the laws of mankind.
When would you say this patriarchal energy took over the planet? Like, was it the dynastic period in Egypt? Was it after that, before that? When would you say it started destroying the divine feminine energy on the planet?
When you had as soon as you got monotheistic belief system connected to our system. So all that energy was galvanized by the 6,000 year verification period of the lunar light lock energy, which puts us under a sleep spell. And that sleep spell is the religious system under the lunar cycle. So this is why when I was talking about the plutonium energy, so when you have Pluto enters Aquarius in March 23rd. So when Pluto enters Aquarius, you also have the Saturnian energy copulating with the Pisces energy, right? So that fourth dimensional energy that's coming in, that's going to be the